And now, the star of the show, Jordan Rogozinski.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Jordan 411 Sports Show. And today's guest, he has my name, Jordan. That's so funny. I never had a guy named Jordan before. And what he does ethnomusicology.
Yes.
Did I say that right?
Absolutely correct.
And please welcome to the show, Jordan.
Hello, Jordan.
Hello. That's a weird handshake. Now explain to me what your studies are.
So I study ethnomusicology, like you said, and it's the study of music and culture through people. So we do a lot of what's called ethnography, a lot of interviewing people to ask them what they think about music, what music means to them, how it works in their culture or their society, to find out a little more about the world.
What does it mean to you when you travel, let's say go to a soccer game, and you hear the audience make the music compared to a soundboard?
I am so for that practice. So when the crowd is making the music like they do traditionally in soccer, I think it creates more of an atmosphere of participation, which I think is really important. Really important as in a community type event. When you're gathering with thousands of people in a stadium, you're not sitting in a seat, Van Halen saying, jump, and the big board says, get loud, right? You do it because you want to. Nobody's telling me to jump up and dance and sing. I do it because that's what you do. That's what the people are doing. And I think it creates a more lively atmosphere, and I think maybe a more memorable one.
Now, your dad had a point in my ELA class, this was after the kids leave. He goes, I wish I would play classical music at a Buckeye game. How would that affect the school atmosphere?
I guess it depends what piece he chooses to play. It could work well. It could become a thing. It could become a local anthem. It could be funny, which would be a good reaction. It could be really serious in a big moment. Like, actually, so it's not really classical music, but so last night's Vikings game, the final touchdown play, somebody on Instagram remixed it with My Heart Will Go On from the Titanic by Celine Dion, and made the point that everything sounds better with Celine Dion or with the Titanic. And it could do the same thing, right? You could put classical music behind sports, which they used to do in NFL films. Do you ever watch those?
Yeah,
so that's what they do.
Yeah. Now, when you train, let's say you're training for bocce ball event, and you listen to the same song before you do the competition, could that help you regain your muscle memory?
Supposedly that is true. The conditions that you study or prepare in, if you can replicate those in the moments of execution, they can actually make you more comfortable and bring you to a moment. Like if you always say you're writing an exam at 1 p.m. and that's what you should do is kind of study so that you're working on it at 1 p.m. So when the day comes, you're used to that time of day, you're used to those conditions. If you're listening to music, it can be a similar thing, but I was talking to an athlete recently who doesn't like to listen to music before games.
Oh, that.
Because he felt that when he was in the gym, he's a volleyball player, when he was in the gym in that atmosphere, if he had headphones in and he took them out, he would have to readjust to a new atmosphere.
Oh, that.
Because all your senses are involved in this stuff, right? So if you have your ears plugged or you're listening to your favorite song or your pump-up music, and then suddenly you remove that, now it's like you're in a new space. All you did was take your headphones out of your ears.
Wow.
But some people, like you see, there's like all the NBA players, Beats by Dre, always before the game. So they're the complete opposite. So everyone's different.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that, but your dad said you would change my perspective, and you have.
Okay.
Now, is there an adverse effect music type that doesn't work in a sporting event?
I have a funny story that it kind of goes along with the music from a music board versus music from fans. Okay. So in Ottawa, there's a soccer team called the Ottawa Fury. I think they play now in the United Soccer League. So it's a couple levels below MLS. Now, they used to play music in their very first season out of a soundboard. The fans didn't like it. And they actually went to the ownership group and the team and the management, explained to them kind of the soccer culture of making the music. The fans make the music.
Yeah.
So they changed their mind. They got drums, and they started a supporters group, which I joined to do part of my studies of music and sports. So what the owners saw were a bunch of fans playing drums and singing and that. So they thought, oh, what a great idea. Our fans want real drums. Well, we'll get a marching band in the stadium. That's what the people want. So we have this group of supporters singing and chanting and dancing, and then a marching band comes right behind them and starts playing a song.
Wow.
And the fans that were watching the game, they literally, there's maybe only about 20 of them, turned around and stopped looking at the field and started banging their drums, chanting, "This is our house," yelling at the marching band, who they thought was imposing their music onto their territory in the stadium.
Holy, that.
Yeah, so cool.
Now what led you to decide to take this path?
Okay, it's a long story. It started on June 5th, 1985, the day I was born. No, I'm just kidding. So my whole life I've been a musician, and I used to be a pretty good athlete. I played a lot of sports. I played basketball while I went here. And we had a pretty good team, but after high school I wasn't quite good enough to take that next level, and I didn't really know what was going on, so I just went to be a musician for a while. I moved out of town, I played a lot of shows and all this stuff, but I was always interested in sports, always played them recreationally, and as a fan, I'm just a rabid sports fan. So when I decided to go to university to study music, I studied voice performance, but I was still always interested in the sports aspect, and you have to take classes in what's called musicology, the study of music. So you have to like write an essay about some controversial idea in the social world. And it was at a class on the music of indigenous people. And there's, you know, the tomahawk chop that they sing at baseball games at Florida State. I know the Atlanta Braves do it, the Kansas City Chiefs do it. So I decided to kind of study that as an interesting look at you know, a tradition that fans do and what it might mean to them versus what it means to the type of people they're imitating or all that stuff. And it was so interesting to me because there's so many levels that you could look at. And then I basically started realizing how much, or I didn't just realize it, but I realized that you could study the music of sports. So instead of studying the music of people in Winnipeg or music in Cuba, you could instead use sport as your culture and study the music in it. And there are not a lot of people in the world doing this.
There's only 3.
Well, there's a few. Yeah, right. So in Canada, there is a Dr. Ken MacLeod at the University of Toronto, wrote the first real book called, I think it's called We Are the Champions, The Politics of Sports and Popular Music. And he was the first one to say, or at least the first published one to say, hey, there's sporting events, and at every single sporting event there is music non-stop. So let's look at this. Why is it there? What does it mean? Who does it benefit? How does it operate in our world today? And when I saw that there was somebody who was well accomplished looking at the same subject, I was in. That's it, let's go.
What I know you're trying to get to this, to interview athletes, but you were talking to me off camera about there's basketball, there's music playing in basketball all the time. Why do you think that is?
I would guess there's probably a lot of cross-marketing and branding going on, especially with like lifestyle brands and identity brands today. Like if you look at, a great example right now is the Toronto Raptors and Drake. Right? Drake is not just a musician, but an artist, an entertainer, clothing designer, entrepreneur, all this stuff. So they've decided to kind of link up Toronto Raptors basketball and this icon of entertainment and hip hop in Canada today. Yeah. So if you're a fan of Drake, suddenly you're a fan of the Raptors. If you're a fan of the Raptors, suddenly you're a fan of Drake. And then even further, Drake, from what I understand, is sponsored by Jordan Brand.
Oh.
Like if you look at his music videos, he's wearing Jumpman logo. So it's all this interesting cross branding between them. I don't have much more to say on that now. That's really what I'm interested like right now at the moment. But you could say the other reason might be just to enhance the pleasure. Like people are going, they're spending a lot of money to go have 2.5 hours in an arena, and you want to entertain them the whole time. So if the game is maybe slower, or those middle minutes in an NBA quarter, maybe it's just something to keep the crowd up if the game is a bit down.
I went to Jeff's game last Sunday or 2 weeks ago. It was on a Sunday. And when I go to a sporting event, I always want to watch the warm-up because I jam up to music and I watch what they do. Do you think the athletes pick the music, or is it the guy on the soundboard? Or based on let's say it's a playoff game, does that change the music, or a regular season game?
I think you would have to go team by team. I went to recently Minnesota Timberwolves game, and I was kind of looking at the Sound of Music, and their last 10 minutes of warm-up, they even put it on the big board, Tunes Today chosen by Jamal Crawford. So one of their veteran players made their playlist for the last 10 minutes of warm-up. And I think at the Jets game, I went to one recently, which was an amazing game against Edmonton. They won. They had fans tweeting songs they wanted to hear, and then a certain hashtag, and then they would play that song between plays. So there it's the fans, and I'm sure not every song the fans pick will get played, but there's probably, somebody who has to approve the music. And then I know the Chicago Blackhawks had that song by the Fratellis, do 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 do.
Yeah,
and
I love that song.
Exactly, and I think they chose that song as their playoff anthem because it was like good luck. So they just said keep it going, keep it going.
Do a lot of teams, when they run out, does the team pick the music, or does the atmosphere decide what they pick? I know this is what you're going.
Yeah,
but
I don't know the answer to that question. I would love to find out, because to get the crowd pumped up, like I remember, I don't know but the Michael Jordan Bulls had this distinct song. I don't even know what it's called. Do 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 do, and it would get dark, and then the cymbal would come up, and the Bulls would run out. But again, I don't know who picks that.
Okay. Where do you want to go with this? Where does it end, or does it ever end?
I hope it doesn't end. I think it's really, really powerful. Both sports on their own and music on their own are really powerful at touching us emotionally.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very strong phenomenon to combine the two. If you think about, especially if you get countries involved, like national anthems. Look what happens in the States today when Colin Kaepernick drops on a knee. Whether you're for him or against him, what a powerful feeling it gave both sides, right? So what you see in the music of sports is potential. I think a lot of potential for strong messages. And I think what we need to do is think critically about what messages are being sent, by who and why, and for what reasons. Who benefits from these ideas? I don't necessarily think there's an end in sight, but I think what studying music and sports gives us is a lot of questions about the world today and how it works, especially concerned with people in groups, communities, regions, countries.
How about in a boxing match? Would you think the music would change?
Like the intro music?
The intro?
Well, I think the fighters, I'm sure the fighters choose their own music.
Yeah.
They must. Sure. They're so in the zone before they go in. I couldn't imagine, in the Simpsons episode when Homer walks out, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? I don't think Floyd Mayweather's walking out to why can't we be friends?
No, I don't think so either. But it would be funny if Mrs. Out done Beethoven or something while
you
he
could do
was
that.
Walking out.
That would be almost scary. Guy comes out, hood up, no emotion, some Beethoven music in the background. He's not messing around.
Yeah. And he's doing, you said it.
We have a fan out there, Beethoven.
Yeah. what did you, like you were saying the performance side, you used to perform. What type of music did you perform?
You might call it popular music, kind of short songs, 3-minute songs, maybe a little bit folky
Like
music.
Pop and
Yeah,
all that?
like pop music. I used to sing some jazz, some blues, some folk music. I perform a lot of original music. I'm writing a lot of music now, finally again, which is nice. I have time to do that. I was really caught up in my coursework for my program, which takes all of your time. So now that I'm done the coursework and now I just have to do research and interviews and all that stuff, I have more time to make music, which is really nice.
And your dad was saying you imitate voices really well. Can you give me one that you imitate?
I don't know who I imitate well. I would have to hear it, but I don't know.
Like, can you do force people or actors?
No, I don't know. I can. No, I can't. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay.
Okay. Caught him on guard there.
You caught me off guard.
Oh, well, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Really cool to learn about, and that really changed my perspective. And I really look at sports different now.
Listen to sports different now.
Listen, yeah.
There we go.
Please like and subscribe to Jordan's YouTube channel and follow him on Twitter.